Thika Town MP Aspirant Juma Hemedi Mwaniki has called on government agencies to be very vigilant and punish political leaders making inflammatory statements that are likely to ignite hatred and political chaos. In a press briefing held in Thika, Juma also called on political parties to decline to nominate such leaders to vie for any seat in the coming general elections. He called upon candidates eyeing various political positions within Thika to desist from acts that would incite the general public into violence. He added that everyone should be allowed to share their agenda, visions and aspirations without intimidation or mudslinging. Juma appealed to Thika electorate to shun leaders who incited them and stay away from their meetings. He appealed to the residents not to allow Thika to go back to the era of political turmoils and chaos. He also urged the business community, manufacturers, civil society, as well as the authorities to form a Thika Peace Ambassador umbrella to help in preaching peace and in castigating retrogressive leaders.
Set. Great. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press. Good afternoon. Today, I've called you to express remarks in regard to some of the remarks, political remarks that were made recently in the last 1 week. And it's a call to peaceful campaign and desisting from inflammatory remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, in about 6 months, Kenyans will be going to the polls to exercise their democratic right of electing leaders of their choice. The IEBC has already released a roadmap towards 9th August 2022. Over the last few weeks, remarks have been made in public that have a risk of causing chaos, violence, and affect cohesion and harmonious relationships that Kenya has enjoyed over the years. This past 2 years has been particularly hard for common wananchi as they fought the social and economic effects of COVID-19. Our country has seen cycles of violence every election year since 1992. And all these have been politically incited. This periodic political violence ends up destroying the very fabric of our nation in as far as tolerance and peaceful coexistence is concerned. Kenyans are alive to the economic and social distractions and the loss of lives that characterized the post-elections of 2007. The country is yet to recover fully from its aftermath. Kenyans want a country where all can continue to live with each other peacefully, coexist irrespective of their political affiliation, tribe, religion, or gender. Towards this end, I wish to state the following. 1, that the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, should move with speed to implement its mandate as stipulated under Section 25J of the NCIC Act. They should not wait for public outcry for them to react. Number 2, that the judiciary should take judicial notice on individuals making inflammatory remarks likely to cause chaos and violence in our country. Number 3, that the IBC take note of these candidates and strictly enforce the law, which may include barring the candidates from participating in elections to sustain the confidence of the Kenyan people. Number 4, that political parties and their leadership deny nomination certificates to these kind of leaders, inciting the very people that they wish to lead. Coming back to Thika Town constituency, this has been a very peaceful, cosmopolitan constituency and a melting point of over 16 ethnic communities, cutting across all religions, organizations, age, and gender. They have coexisted with each other for decades and have enjoyed relative political calmness. I call upon all aspirants for various positions in Thika, be it MCAs, be it MPs, or those that may want county positions, to desist from making inflammatory and derogatory remarks and statements that could incite Thika people into violence during campaigns and in the run-up to the August 2022 elections. Political aspirants must tone down. Everyone should be allowed to share their agenda, their vision, and what they have for the Mwananchi without acts of shouting and intimidation, name-calling or heckling or even insults from their opponents. I wish to send the following message to Thika people. One, that the Thika people must shun candidates who are inciting them and should stay away from their meetings. Yes. Number two, that the youth and women hold the future to this country and must therefore refuse to be used as instruments of causing chaos, hatred, incitement, and violence against each other. They must know that the only difference that we can make is by exercising our right to vote in credible and peaceful elections. And they need to vote in credible and peace-loving leaders. Your vote counts. Number three, there are organized institutions such as the business communities in Thika, manufacturers and officers of the national government administration and civil society organizations should come together under an umbrella to form a Thika Peace Ambassadors umbrella to help in preaching peace and in pointing out those kinds of leaders that are out to cause chaos. I call on Thika people to be vigilant and defend their democratic rights to vote wisely and consciously and secure the future of Thika Town constituency. Elections come and go, but Thika and its people are here to stay. We shall remain as brothers and sisters. We shall coexist with each other peacefully. Thika is bigger than any political aspirant. Thika has seen days when demonstrations and chaos had characterized the political environment. And they have also seen days when there have been political calmness in this constituency. We must not at any given time allow ourselves to go back to those days when we had all these demonstrations and all this chaos. So those that want to bring this kind of times back, we need to say no to them. If any politician is giving you money to go and destroy someone else's meeting or to go and cause chaos in a place or to shout down someone, that person is playing with your future. Your future needs to be, these people need to engage you in productive engagement. They need to provide solutions, lobby, or even engage in terms of resources, in terms of ideas, in terms of mentorship, and in terms of everything. How do you mentor a generation when you're telling them to go and throw stones at so-and-so's meeting or to go and shout at so-and-so's meeting? Are you really even helping these people? What kind of solutions will you provide when you get into office if now, as you look for the votes, you're asking them to go and destroy? I mean, we are destroying our own country. We are destroying our own constituency. And the young people must refuse to be used as these tools. Young people, this is your time. This is your moment. If you want to hold it dear or you want to destroy it, it will be upon you. But this country is so dear to so many of us that we must not allow ourselves to get into that position again. When there's no peace, there's no business that can go on. I mean, we have historical records from what happened after the elections of 2017 when people could not go to Nairobi to open their businesses. We have records from what happened in 2007 and what happened in 1997 and 1992. So the business community is the biggest stakeholder of peace. There must be peace for them to be able to do their business and get engaged in commerce. Manufacturers too, they are biggest stakeholders because when they manufacture this business in an area where there's war or in an area where there's chaos constantly, how will they even transport whatever finished products that they are engaging in? Government administration, they are implementers of law, and there are people who are supposed to be rightly involved. I think peace is something that is or should be in everyone who wants to see progress and who wants to see development. There cannot be development without peace. This is an agenda that every other person must come and coalesce around, irrespective of our political affiliations. Let us come and discuss on how we can be able to coexist peacefully. There's no one who is moving away from Thika. Thika, like I said, is a melting point of more than 16 communities and many religious organizations. So where will these people go if we cannot be able to find peaceful coexistence? So yes, I am calling upon the business community, I'm calling upon the manufacturing organizations, and I'm calling upon administration and the ordinary citizens. Because when there is no peace, you can't even take your kid to school. You can't even go to the market. You can't. We have seen these things. They have happened in this country before, and they have happened in Africa before. So let's take charge. My campaign is premised on key values. Key among them is dignity. Dignity not just for your own people, but dignity for the people that you're going to meet in the field, and dignity for your opponent. I have no intention of indignifying anyone or insulting anyone at a personal level, a family level, or any other level. The second value that is premised on is respect for each other. And the third, of course, is peace. Now, with these values, I would call upon also the other participants or the other opponents that are in this race to also observe the same kind of value. Because without dignity, without respect, without watching out for each other, without being our brother's keeper and our sister's keeper, we cannot come to the same people to convince them that we want to lead them, and yet we are disrespecting them, yet we are indignifying them, yet we are insulting each other all across. We cannot be good role models if we do not practice these aspects ourselves. So what Thika people should expect from my campaign team and from myself, and this is information that I have shared with the people in my team, that anyone throwing jabs or insults, or irrespective of whether that person has insulted us or not, you don't have to answer every question that has been thrown to you, neither should you respond to any insult that has been thrown to you. Some people are jealous, or some people are angry because probably they feel like you have been blessed more than they have. They feel that you are now running for a position that you are likely going to get it, and there's this kind of stuff that is usually sibling rivalry or even peer jealousy. Let us not engage ourselves into that. We will not lower ourselves to that standard. We will maintain our discipline, we will maintain our courage, and we will maintain dignity for every person who will be in this race. These elections, of course, will be determined by a lot of people. Key amongst them will be the Thika voters, and also the people who will be umpires of the elections, the IEBC. The law is very clear, and recently there were amendments to the Political Parties Act, and so many other developments have been going on. So as long as the rule of law is observed, and what has been put within Article 88 and of course within the Elections Act is observed, then we are hopeful that the ground will be leveled. But also we need to put into effect the issues on campaign funding Act, and issues especially in terms of violence, or in terms of paying young people to cause violence. All these things must be addressed or must be observed. It is very, very early now. They are starting. It is good that we can be able to see them, and we can at least be able to ask the authorities to take charge. And if all goes well, then we are hopeful and we are very confident that we shall take this seat home. What I would want my opponents to do is to observe peace, and do not send your people to go and disrupt other people's meetings. If, again, for the citizens of Thika and citizens of Kenya, you do not like a particular candidate, and that particular candidate is holding a meeting near where you are, please don't go to that meeting, because you might go there and then you might start chaos. And don't allow yourself to be sent to cause chaos, because eventually, after dust settles, only one person will occupy the seat of Thika Town MP. Only one person. Now, what will happen to the rest of the people? Everyone will go back to what they are doing. But you will not move from the estate that you live in. You will still live with your neighbor. You will still coexist. Your children will still be going to the same schools with the children of either your opponent or the other person that you are arguing with. So my call is to my fellow competitors to observe peace and at least decorum in these elections. Many of you already know that I worked with Kenya Red Cross for more than 15 years. In 2007, 2008, I was still with Kenya Red Cross, and we responded to the post-election violence that happened in that year. And the kind of things that we saw, the people that we first aided, the many women who delivered in IDP camps, many of them have never been able to recover up to date. These are the aftermath that I'm talking about that up to now we have never been able to recover. Other than just individuals, our economy also went into bigger problems. 2017, we were losing a billion shillings every hour because of the political violence that we had until the handshake happened. So all I'm saying is that as a person who has been on the front line of responding to disasters, both man-made and natural disaster, I've seen what these kind of statements and these kind of things can do to the people of Kenya. Anyone who has not interacted with such kind of situation may not understand. The areas in Eldoret, the areas in Nakuru, and even here in Thika, we had IDPs here in Thika Stadium during that year. It's a camp that I managed also at that time. So when I see this kind of inflammatory remarks, it brings back the memories of what happened in 2007 and the aftermath of it. We should not allow ourselves to go there. And that is why I'm running for this seat, because we need to bring in credibility into the political leadership of this country. We need to bring decency, dignity, and ethics into the political leadership of this country. These are the things that lack in so many people who are seeking positions today. So my body shivers anytime I hear people making remarks that will likely cause chaos in this country. Whatever chaos happens any corner of this country is chaos that will find us in our doorstep at some point. None of us thought that the chaos that was happening in Rift Valley would find us here in Central, because so many people there became IDPs and so many of them moved into these areas. And some of the challenges, I think, of course, that are going around emanate from those kind of times. So we must be careful as a country if action is not taken. That's why I'm calling upon the agencies that are responsible for this as early as possible to be able to identify and deal with these people as early as possible. And also for the agency that will be required to clear candidates for election, that's the IBC. They need to take note of such kind of people, because they have fiduciary responsibility of ensuring that the guys who end up into the elections are people who are credible to be on that ballot box. So yes, there is a fear if this continues the way it is and unabated, problems will come later on. But I'm happy that several of these people have already been asked to come and record some statements, but it should not end there. It shouldn't end there. It should be beyond there. Even political parties, they shouldn't clear such kind of candidates. I mean, giving them that certificate means you agree with some of these remarks that they make. We need peaceful leaders.
My name is Charles Ngure Wanja. I'm among the youth leaders in Thika Town constituency and Kiambu County, and I'm flanked by my colleague youth leaders from various parts of this town, and we are here to condemn the latest remarks that have been made by some of the politicians or would be politicians in this town. So we are calling upon all the youths to maintain peace at this time, and we are also calling upon the security forces to ensure that peace in this cosmopolitan town is maintained and enforced, because we have seen in recent times tensions being flared up, indications that as youth, because we are the ones who are usually used in these tensions, and those people, after flaring up the tensions, they run away. So it is time that our colleague youths will maintain peace, and the security forces to ensure that peace is maintained in this town.